First, I want to say that last night's telling, you could probably already tell, or I could, that my voice was beginning to go. And I don't have much of a voice right now either. I've got a cold coming on, but I'm going to try telling this anyway. If it's not loud enough, you can't hear it, I'll tell it again later. It's time to take a look at the scroll. They had everything ready. They photographed the package, and then Edgy and Violet agreed they shouldn't cut anything. They just used Violet did it because hers were the craftsman's hands. Rubbed the tape enough so that they could get the tape free, and that took the flaps out. And then there was a piece of tape that was sealing the rolled up plastic, and they got that off, and they saved them. Edgy said, we need to save everything. We might as well be careful. Then they started to unroll this. This was on the kitchen table. They started to unroll it. And what they came to was silk, white silk. It was a continuous roll of white silk. But that silk was inside a piece of paper that was the same width. And it was very long. It was probably close to 9 feet long that they unrolled it. And as they unrolled it, when they got all that out, oh, cat just bumped the camera. When they got out, there was more. And so they kept unrolling, and there was another piece of silk. I hope I had this right. How did they do? Well, it doesn't matter. They photographed. They had a camera running, actually filming the rolling, and it was the second piece of silk, same width. Now this one wasn't as long. This was about maybe 4 or 5 feet long, and then they finally. Now remember, all of this was inside a piece of plastic, thick white plastic. I'm not telling this very well. The plastic was white on the outside, but black on the inside, and so they kept unrolling it. Well, inside all of this, there were two packages, two plastic baggies. The one had a bunch of pieces of wood in it, just little chips of wood. None of them really any bigger than my thumbnail, and the other one had some metal. It had 3 nails of different sizes, and it had a bolt with a round head, 2 nuts on it, and a couple of washers on it. But the other thing I didn't tell you, and I honestly don't remember the order that this was wrapped in. I should have studied up on that. There were 2 pieces of paper. One was just like a piece of typewriter paper, a standard 8.5 by 11, I think. It was blank. And the other one was this size, half of that. But it wasn't blank. It had words written on it. And what I had my wife write them down. I tried to remember as best I could. And I've got them written here, and I'll read down through the list just so you can see it. It's a very odd set of words. Now, in the original, it was in very pretty writing, and Violet said that's not Wedge's handwriting, that's for sure, because I remember what his writing was like. He couldn't write cursive; he could only print. And it was hard to read it, and it was tiny. But what Wedge apparently had done is maybe had his wife Star copy it down, because he wanted to make sure that if this Holy Grail failed to work, it wasn't going to simply because of his bad penmanship. So here it was, a list. And I'll read down through it. You might be able to see it. The first, at the top, on the right, as you look at it, your left, yeah. There were inside backslashes. was KWORDER, whatever that is. Underneath that, and that was printed, underneath that in cursive was what looked like hospice, HOSPES, but it was in cursive. Everything else on the list was printed. Simple, inch, hut, key, folk, out, pump, trestle, ventricle, build, will, it, tolerance, pergola, atrium, one, minimum, start. Now start was capitalized. All the rest of them were lowercase at the beginning. Gaia, now that's capitalized too. Disguise, and then backslashes again with a capital W, EJIZ, whatever that is. Palette, of, school, and they. And they was capitalized as well. That's the list, and I'll just take it a little bit closer so you can see it. Maybe you can figure this out too. They they didn't know what to make of it. I mean, it just almost looked like an arbitrary list of any old words. But that was it. There was also a little piece of wire inside, along with the 3 nails and the bolt. And there was a little bit of grit, as if somebody had broken a concrete block. It was gray like that, and purposely put it in there. And that was it. I think I've told you everything. So, this was a mystery. The Holy Grail, Wedge said. Not very impressive looking.